back.
We're back.
For another episode of the Neurodivergent Convergence podcast. That's what I didn't say last time.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't say last time. I was just like, hi, we're a podcast, and this is what we do. But I never said our name. See, I told you. I knew it felt wrong. But yeah, we just squeezed that into 3 letters. Because neurodivergent convergence, not only is that a mouthful, but it's a long-ass thing to spell. And because I like words that like sort of sound like each other, that apparently is not alliteration. Thank you, Amanda. Which you guys will find out why that's a point on the next couple episodes. But if you haven't already listened, which you guys said that you have not, we have friends today. That's who I'm talking to. If you're watching, you can see that. If you're not watching, our friends are here, Ray and Micah. We will give them their proper introduction here in just a moment. But, yeah, hi, we're a show. And, we do things on this show on Thursdays.
That's it.
We are the NDC podcast, the Neurodivergent Convergence podcast, the Nerdy Dope Creatures podcast, the Nasty Dirty Cake podcast. I don't know, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care. You pick. It's your acronym to decide. We don't care anymore. But we switched it to the NDC podcast because it's easier to say. So hi, I'm Nikki. That's Amanda. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
And these are our friends, Micah and Ray.
Hi.
Hi. Micah, if you're watching, is in the lovely Hawaiian-style shirt there. And Ray, their emotional support human, is in the Esprit shirt. So now you know who is who. They both go by they, them pronouns. So I will just always be using they when I can remember to do so, because sometimes my brain wants to default to binary pronouns, and that's a thing I'm unlearning. It's not something I do consciously to be a bad person. It's just something that was very ingrained in me from a very young age that I'm still working on changing. But I'm trying to stay very conscious of using they, them pronouns so that I'm not misgendering or offending people. It's very important. We don't do that shit here.
Just basically don't be a dick.
Yeah, just don't be a dick. And I'm not trying to be a dick. They know that.
You can't identify as a dick, okay? Just stop.
No. You can identify as most anything these days except for a dick. We will not allow it. We will not allow it. But anyway, yeah, hi, we're a podcast. We talk about neurodivergent shit and our experience with neurodivergent shit as 2 best friends on traveling this neurodivergent universe, or the neuroverse as we like to call it, together, because we are living in a neurotypical world and we are not neurotypical girls. Amanda.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Well, this is a follow-up episode to our last part, where we talked about where Micah had a good topic of basically what it's like in school, being undiagnosed. You know, we started last episode from what they call, like, you know, basically preschool, kindergarten, like up and through high school, secondary school, whatever you want to call it. And then now, so this episode we're going to focus on university, college. So that's usually what we're just going to dive into that, because that's kind of a meatier topic. So we kind of just want to focus on that one for this. Words.
Yes, words that make sentences that go to paragraphs.
I know English.
Anyway, I know English very nicely. Sometimes. I am learning Danish now. And they're like, yes, terribly. But yes, you are learning Danish.
Oh, you silly little American. Look at you trying.
So cute. So cute.
No, Danish is actually really hard to learn.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm doing okay. I'm doing a lot of repeating, which is good for my brain.
Duolingo, is that what you're doing?
I am doing Duolingo. And you know what? Apparently, my oldest child told me that there are many memes that go around about Duolingo.
That owl is vicious. That owl
is I'm now understanding. Because this owl has a fucking attitude, okay? He's like, practice now? He's like, in your...
And
how about now?
I took a picture. I took a screenshot once, like, because I have like the widget on my phone, like the home screen of my phone.
Oh, yes, that's what I have.
But there's one.
I know, because it's early in the morning.
I did the lesson, and then he looks like happy after you do the lesson. Like the picture changes depending on what it is, but he was literally like facing away, but turned his head to look at me with his ass there, and I'm like, "Are you shitting me, duo?" Like,
okay,
what's going on
I
here?
don't know if you can properly see this, but I'm going to try. This is his little face.
Yeah, he's like
now.
So if you wait until like,
that's my calendar. Hold on.
Yeah, if you wait, I see it. But yeah, if you wait,
look at his little face.
Yeah, he's like obnoxious. Yeah.
Hold on, let me turn my light off for a second.
I don't think you can.
Oh, that didn't help.
No, because we have the autofocus turned off.
He's so adorable in mine though, because it's like
if you wait until like late at night, like I usually do mine around like
there it is. He's like pulling his little eyeballs down. Like, oh my god, practice! Yeah,
I've done it for 542 days in a row. 542 days.
Nice. I'm on day 5.
Yeah.
I need to find you.
657.
Nice.
Yeah. I need to find all of you on there and get friends because I need friends.
Oh, yeah, I need more friends.
So we need to find each other on there. But yeah, so I'm learning. Yes, that was cute.
Because it's like early in the morning. I did it yesterday, so he's like, "Get on with it today."
Yeah.
Yes, hurry up.
If you wait until like 11:30 p.m. or something, he gets like he looks violent. Like he's like he looks like he is in hell. Like
yes,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the countdown starts. But I like to do mine like right before, like as I'm winding down for the day. I like to like lay in bed and do it. So like I generally will do it at nighttime as opposed to like always playing a game at night, which is nice because I'm like sort of replacing that time with like learning and like helping my brain calm down at the same time. And like I do want to eventually learn other languages. I definitely want to learn Italian. I definitely want to redo my Spanish education because I've lost most of it. I would say a good 90% of it I did not retain. I know enough to pick out words here and there, and that's about it. But I definitely just wanted to start with something I'd never seen before. I wanted to be like, okay, I've never seen a lick of Danish, never heard a lick of Danish. I want to see what, like, if I can do this, right? It was kind of like what if kind of situation. I've never really challenged myself in that way because I always tend to quit things quickly. I get frustrated and I'll quit. So like, but I feel like because this is gamified, it makes it easier for me to like retain it and learn it. I am still struggling with when to use in and et.
In it, yes.
Yes, it's hard to distinguish because they both mean very similar things.
They mean the same thing.
Yeah, they mean the same thing.
It just depends on if it's I think I don't know the English word for common gender or non-gendered, but we have no clear rules if a noun is one or the other. So you just have to go by what sounds right. But at least when you learn, like, for example, en hund, a dog, you know dog is one you think en.
Yes.
So it's just get familiar with it. And then also, I think it's about 75% of the time it's en. And then sometimes it's just practice. I struggled with it when I was a small child. Then I myself. So it's like even dates sometimes like, but that makes no sense.
Yeah. We don't have we don't have gendered nouns like Spanish.
Yeah, we don't either. But like it's very difficult.
With the type of letter it starts with, where here it makes no sense.
Yeah, so like you don't say like en mor, en far, like that's a mom a mom and a dad, but you don't say en barn, which is a child, which I know I'm probably not pronouncing it perfectly, but like you say et barn, right? So, but it's literally means the same shit. So you'd say en mor, en far, et barn. So a mom and a dad have a child.
I think you did the same thing as you did the other day. It's when they have something, it's ha.
Ha et ban. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to say. I just don't think I pronounced it right.
R or is. So one thing I would go by is R and R. Kind of sound similar, and have
and heart
sound similar. So if you keep that in mind, I think that can help you in that situation.
Because I messed around and said that I was a house.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I just feel like that's a good little suggestion from someone who's English.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, it's kind of like in Spanish, like pene and peñe. Like one, I'm mispronouncing because I don't remember how it's spelled. One is comb. One is penis. So it's
penis,
like
right? Yeah.
Or like anos, and años is years, and anus. So gotta be careful.
Penis is simple. Penis is just penis.
Yeah.
But we also have a funnier word for it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What is it? Spell it.
Diller.
Okay. Okay.
Among other things. We also actually have quite a few names for them.
Yeah, I bet. So do we. But okay, yeah. So that's what we're doing right now. I guess that's our bullshit section of today's episode. Talking about learning language. Yeah.
It's still about learning stuff.
Yeah, it's still about learning stuff. I'm genuinely enjoying it though. Like I really was worried that it would feel like a chore, and I didn't want it to. Like I wanted to enjoy it, desperately wanted to enjoy it. So the fact that I actually am and I want to learn is like, it makes me happy. It's like a little glimmer in my day when I get to start learning new words. And it's like, the only thing I don't love is I didn't pay for the premium, so I'm not getting a lot of practice actually speaking it. So like, I'm learning to read it, I'm learning to type it, but I'm not learning the proper, like I can say it out loud, but it sounds funny to do so. I don't know. So like, it would be different if I was like repeating it back to the thing and it was like, yes, you said that right. That way, if I need to change inflection that's why you're here. So like, I'm going to have to practice saying it, and then you guys are going to have to get back to me on how I'm saying things.
A good way to also do it is watch shows and stuff in Danish and just have English subtitles, because then you at least, or when you get more comfortable also having Danish subtitles, but maybe starting out with English subtitles so you know what's being said, but hearing the words.
Yeah.
We have a lot of good Danish shit. And also a lot of free stuff on a specific, I'm pretty sure she could access the code.
I think so.
Yeah. Like our main TV channel that is free for everyone. They have a lot of TV shows on there, and I feel like there's some baking stuff. I think they also have a bit of crime stuff. They have a shit ton of different stuff on their streaming service, and it's free. Otherwise, we have a really good streaming service for another TV channel we use a lot, which has a shit ton of crap stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely do that. But yeah, I'm just really excited about it. So like, once I've gotten that language down, then I'll go, or down-ish, you know what I mean? And I feel comfortable with it, and I can at least, my goal is to be conversationally sound with it. Like, I want to be able to have a conversation with someone and like be able to get through a day and, you know, go to a store and complete a transaction and understand what the signage means when I'm traveling. Like, that's the goal, and be able to hold a conversation with someone, a basic conversation with someone in Danish, not be like fluent necessarily, although that would be fucking cool, but like enough to get through. Kind of like how, and I mean, what's your goal with your Spanish, Amanda? Like, what's your goal with that? Are you trying to be fluent?
Yeah, because I mean, I took 4 years in high school and 1 year in college, but then obviously didn't really use it. I was able, when I was in Spain, I was able to like go into stores. Like, if I practice like what I want to say, like I was able to go into stores and like talk basic, like, oh, can I have this, or do you have this, or I need this, or blah blah. Or like, where's the bus stop, or donde está el baño? Like, where's the bathroom?
Yeah, where's the bathroom?
Yeah. Necesito una cerveza. I need a beer.
Yeah. I need a beer.
But yeah, I would like to be more fluent because we do have like a lot of Spanish speakers in my area. Not like an insane amount, but not like along the southern border. But we do have a good amount of Spanish speakers, so I would like to be able to do it. And like, you know, obviously Scott's fluent. He's a Spanish teacher, and then our friend Granger's fluent, or not quite as fluent as Scott, but he's fluent. That was like, I think that was his minor in college was Spanish, and so I would like to be able to. Don't necessarily need to be on the level of a Spanish teacher, but I'd like to be able to, like, if someone needed help in Spanish, I could help them.
Yeah. What about you guys? What are you learning?
I'm mostly learning German currently.
Okay.
As also back to the whole school thing, we can either do German or French as a third language in primary school.
Cool.
I did German. I don't think French actually got picked up at my school. I did that for 3 years, and I hadn't done it since. Actually, in my field, it's not entirely impossible that I would work with Germans, or need to be in contact with people in Germany. So being able to actually speak somewhat decently German would be good. So I still understand a shit ton of German when spoken at me, but I cannot respond. My brain going from German to Danish is good, but Danish to German is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to fix. Then I started Korean a while ago.
Okay.
But have gotten really bad at doing that, so I probably need to start that. And also started Spanish along with Korean. I do, luckily for my mother, I got like a bit of an ear for languages, so I can usually at least somewhat pick them up, not too hardly, so I can do a couple at a time without confusing myself so much. But I usually, also with the ADHD.
Good catch.
Thanks. Usually with the ADHD, I have one of them that kind of catches my attention. For a while, and then I will leave out a bit and then go to one of the other ones. So I like having a few several.
I was good at Japanese.
I actually also do the Danish course, but I use it for a way to keep up my English, like my conversational English.
Okay.
Because again, my whole master degree is in English, and it's not, again, unlikely I will be working with people who are not Danish. So to keep up my English, it's a great way, especially because I've gotten so far. It's a lot of, some of them is very high level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them is like, just say this in Danish or write this in Danish. And if they speak something Danish and you have to write down, like, that's a little frustrating because they don't actually have a Danish to English course. They only have a English to Danish course. So I'm taking the exact same course you are.
Oh, okay.
I finished it, so I'm at the daily practice stuff.
Okay. Well, I guess you have 2 English speakers that could help you with that. So we can be helpful if you need to bounce the harder stuff off of us, I guess. But
no,
or if there's words that you don't.
I think it was we started that. They've began to do it from, I think it's 3rd grade, and German for 5th grade now, which makes a lot of sense. But I think I've spoken English since I was in 5th grade.
Okay.
And I think by 6th or 7th grade, I was reading Harry Potter in English.
Oh, I love that.
So
yeah, I bought Hunger Games.
It's just keeping it up, so I don't get.
Yeah, I bought Hunger Games in Spanish. I have it somewhere, but yeah, I bought Hunger Games Spanish because I had the English version of it. So I was like, oh, I can like read it side by side. And I started reading it. I'm like, I don't know what half these words mean. I was like, maybe I shouldn't have picked a fantasy. I know it's not fantasy; it's like apocalyptic. But maybe I should have picked a more modern, like, these are actual words that you'll use. And so maybe I should have picked something like that. But I typically don't read like normal fiction, if that makes sense. Like not like like I either like historical fiction or fantasy or sci-fi. So it's like well, I can't do sci-fi because it's like I'm not gonna know. Like even like I said, my best friend, Spanish teacher, and when I got hurt the second time we went to Spain, and we had to go to.
Oh no, Ray! Yawn triggered. Sorry, Amanda.
And we had to go to a doctor's office. Even my friend who teaches Spanish as a job did not know a lot of medical Spanish. So it's like trying to that sort of thing. So
yeah. The specialized stuff where it's like, you know, like the conversational things, but if you had to like you said, the medical part, maybe you don't know all the terms for that, or, you know, things like that. Just the weird things.
I also sometimes do my German lessons with 3. So the
you do what?
Like when I do my German lessons, I have it out loud, and then I ask Ray what they just said.
Oh, okay.
To kind of also help them remember some stuff.
I'm often very clueless.
Yes.
I take a lot of screenshots. I take a lot of screenshots and send it to Scott and be like, I'd be like, why the hell did I get this wrong? Like, what's like this reads, this is the same. And he's like, it's a very arbitrary rule. I couldn't tell you why, but it's the rule. I'm like, okay, fine.
That's the shit that's gonna trip me up, is like the weird rules that don't make sense.
The thing I struggle with German is they have very gendered shit. Like every noun is gendered. It is female,
that's what
male.
Spanish is. Yeah.
Or non-neutral.
Yeah,
neutral, and it's so annoying. Because some of it makes sense, and then some of it is like, why is this thing male? And sometimes it just feels very
some of it's like very misogynistic, I feel, or like, like that doesn't make sense.
It's just like,
or like Spanish, most okay, so like probably like 80 to 90% of words, like if it ends in A, it's a la. If it ends in O, it's an L. Like it's like, but like mappa, like map is L mappa, not la mappa. It's a male noun. I'm like, but males don't ask for directions. What are you talking about? Why would they do this? Like,
I love that.
I'm like, I don't understand.
Oh, that's funny shit. All right, folks. We're going to have to cut this conversation. This was a big-ass tangent that... Hey, I loved it. That's what we do. We're all neurospicy. We all go on our tangents. It's great. But in the interest of not keeping you up until like 7 a.m., I want to make sure we get to all your points. Because you have lots of great ones. And that last episode was amazing. And I loved all the points, and we learned so much, and I want to learn more. So let's make sure that we are both not exhausting the shit out of you, but also getting to hear all of the things that you would like to say. So let's get this party started. Where would you like to start now? We're on to what? University time?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to just kind of explain how our upper levels are put together. So
sure. You want me to throw that thing on the thing? Throw it up there? Do the thing?
I'm just going to go over it real quickly. So we have our bachelor's programs, and then we have our professional bachelor's programs, so the bachelor program takes 3 years. It's like a bachelor program most other places. I know yours, I think, take 4.
Yeah. You can do it in 3, but most take 4.
Yeah, ours generally take 3. Then we have our professional bachelor's programs. Those often contain some sort of internship and often last 3.5 years. So we have, I think, teachers, nurses. I actually did one of these. As an engineer, you can most of the time choose to do one or the other. Not all university actually have the 3.5 year one. My university does, which was one of the reasons I picked it, because I like to work with my hands and stuff, and not just with my brain, because then I get bored. And
Same.
then we have the
very tactile,
academy profession programs, which is 2 years. I'm not actually quite sure we usually have in that section.
Not sure.
I don't know a whole lot of stuff at that level. That's 2 years, but who knows? But yeah, mostly you will see either a bachelor's program or a personal bachelor's program. Usually with the bachelor's program, you can't really use it for anything specific when you're done. You still kind of have to do your master's to really get anywhere in the working market. Where actually with a professional bachelor's program, most people can go out and work, kind of depending on their field. So actually, I had a title when I was done with my first 3.5 years. So even though I'm not technically done with university yet, I'm still technically titled as a diploma engineer in chemistry or chemical engineering. So I could actually go out and work. I had multiple classmates who left after the 3.5 years and are now working full time. But then you can do your master's program, which we here call a candidate or a candidate, which is what I'm almost done with. And then if you want, you can put on a PhD on top of that. I'm not gonna do that.
I don't blame you. That's a lot. That's a lot of school.
Yeah, PhD is a lot. Especially also a lot of people take breaks in between some of the school. I have not, especially between like our general upper secondary education and then now higher education. A lot of people at least take a year off to work, to travel, stuff like that. When I'm done, actually by now, I have been in school for, I think, 10, 11, 14, 20 years.
Wow.
With only like normal school breaks in between.
No thanks.
Yeah, so that's also why I did the one with the internship, because it meant for my fifth semester out of 7 of, or what was supposed to be 7, I will come back to that. I am so good at catching these in between my legs. Wrong. Was supposed to be 7. I worked for half a year. I ended up working for the university, but it was COVID, so it's hard to get an internship. But I got one at the university. It was good time we got them. And they went everywhere.
You got the trusties. It's okay.
That's
it's all
what
right.
happened when you are neurodivergent and fidget with stuff.
Yes, that's okay.
So, but that's why I did one of the reasons why I did the internship, because I was probably pretty sure I was gonna be tired at that point, and it actually did help a lot with the school tiredness of it all. So, but yeah. So I don't know if it makes sense to kind of quickly for.
You want me to put it back up?
No, actually, for just Minda to kind of quickly go over your system.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
So obviously it depends. Like I briefly talked about like what my niece did. She did a 5-year master's program where you basically combined your bachelor's and your master's. So bachelor's typically takes 4 years, master's typically takes 2. So she was done in 5. So so it did sting a little bit that my 22, 23-year-old niece had a higher education than I did. But she did it for architecture. So that's one program you can do. I think she got an internship or apprenticeship after she was done, like right after college, which doesn't really happen that much anymore. Mm-hmm. So for me, like for the US, we have what's called community college. We kind of interchangeably use college, university. Like you can, like I call it college. I don't say university. Yeah, we
it's like 2 different things.
Yeah, because I know in like I think Spanish, like what we would say the word for college is like their high school, what they call high school, and then universidad is university. Like I'm literally wearing a shirt that says that. And then but then like what they would call like colegia, I think it's like high school. But so we have like what we call community college. It's usually where you go to get your generals, which is dumb because you already did your generals in high school. So it's just kind of redoing it and spending money to redo it. But it kind of has to be done. You have to get your generals, even if you're not going for, like, say you're going to be a writer, but you still have to take a math class or something. It's weird. But so community college is 2 years. You don't have to do it that. You can just go straight to a 4-year college. I actually did my first semester at a 4-year college. Hated it. Like, it was just too big of a place. Like, it's not even like that big of a school in comparison to a lot of other colleges, but it was just too big of a place. I just could not handle it. And also, like, I feel like my advisor, not knowingly, but I feel like they kind of screwed me over. And like, this is still where I had like no inkling that I could be neurodivergent. Wasn't even like a thought, where she put me in higher level, like at the time my major was history, and she put me in like level 301 history classes, 201, 301 history classes, and I was a freshman, so I should have been in 101 history classes. So did not do well. So I basically reverted back, went to our community college for the rest of that, got my associates, which is a 2-year degree. And then I went back to the last 2 years for my bachelor's, between that time, I switched to graphic design, realized I like doing graphic design as a hobby. I don't know if I could have someone pay me to do it because I don't take criticism well. And so if someone doesn't like a design I make, I don't know if I could handle having to redo something because they didn't like it. But then I kind of combined the two, and then I eventually got my degree in art history, which I don't use it for anything. My field that I'm in has nothing to do with art, history, or anything. So it was just a piece of paper at the end of the day. But what's funny is that this might not even be something that Nikki knows, because it's like, I think like maybe one person has ever known this. But when I graduated, it was December 2013. I started in the fall of 2008. So it took 5.5 semesters to get a 4-year degree, or 5.5 years to get a 4-year degree. But I actually did not graduate technically in December 2013. Nikki went to my graduation, but I had failed too many classes at that point. And what I thought was because of depression, but it's because I did not go to class. I was not doing any work. Like, I still have nightmares about failing out of class. Like, I still have nightmares. Like, I was like, oh, I've been enrolled in this class this whole time and I haven't gone? What do you mean there's a test that determines the fate of my grade and my life and my career and everything? So I still have like nightmares about it. But I actually technically did not graduate until the summer after. So I didn't graduate until the summer of 2014. I did the graduation ceremony, but they did the graduation ceremonies before you got your grades. And even then I knew I was not passing, but I didn't like tell anybody.
I don't think I did know that.
No one knew. Like Scott didn't know.
Wow.
I think the only one that knew was my mom. And so she gave me a lot of shit. Like so I had to then pay out of pocket at least the summer. I had to like withdraw from college at one point because I could not handle it. I could not handle not necessarily the classroom work or anything, but just showing up, basically just showing up and doing the work. And so I definitely didn't graduate until the summer of 2014. I didn't do the graduation ceremony that time. I was like, well, I did the ceremony. I don't need to do it again. And so it took me 6 years and a summer semester to get a 4-year degree. So did I still have an inkling that I was neurodivergent? No, I just thought I was bad at life. So I just thought I was bad at life. I just thought depression got the better of me. I just thought I went from a small, medium high school to like a larger area to where I just couldn't handle the stress of it. So yeah, so basically associate's degree, bachelor's degree, master's, PhD. or what they call postgraduate. So that's how it works there, and that was my experience in college.
Yeah. So we're kind of speaking into the whole get into more detail. Why? It's supposed to take me 5.5 years to be done with my master's. By the time I'm actually done, it's gonna have taken me 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
So I extended with a whole year in total. Each part was half a year. So in a single semester for various reasons, but in basically the same, but it came out in different ways. So I feel like for me it makes sense to kind of go through my entire first semester and semester where it makes sense, because a lot of different stuff happened.
Yeah.
And my neurodivergent played into it in a lot of different ways. So I feel like that's thesis, so I don't forget something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, Amanda, if there's anything you feel like you can relate to or have a comment on, just interrupt me. And I don't like that, but you can just be like, hey, I have something to say. So that, if that works for everyone.
Yeah, go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have like a couple of introduction days when you start university to get you to know your classmates. Also the university, you get shown around by your tutors.
It's like orientation.
Stuff like that. Yeah, pretty much. And a part of that is also heavy drinking. It's just how it is. You are not forced to drink, of course, but it generally helps if you do. But up to that, I had been sick with kind of like the flu, but I was feeling better. Or at least I thought it was the flu. I was feeling better. I went out drinking. We had a pub crawl. And then the day after, I was at a medieval market with my friends and going home to one of their places, and then also drinking more. And then a couple of days later, I was still not quite feeling right. So my mother forced me to go to the doctors, because as an adult, sometimes your mother still have to tell you, go to the doctor, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Right.
Something is not right. So I go, we talk a bit back and forth, and she's like, she looks in my throat, because it was mostly throat stuff. And she's like, I have one thing I kind of want to test for. And my sister had mono at that point, and had really struggled for about half a year, where she was really sick for a long time, because she also managed to get pneumonia at the same time. So I had to get her groceries and her medicines and stuff. So I was like, oh no, is it mono? Is this what is happening to me while I just started university? And I also knew you shouldn't be drinking when you have mono, because it can make your liver explode.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, are you suspecting mono? Because then I kind of want to tell you that I heavily drank this weekend, and I know you're not supposed to do that, but I had no idea this was it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's what I'm thinking. We can test for it and then take it from there. And if it is that, we will get some doctoral and check your liver numbers, because we need to keep an eye on that if you've been drinking. So I ended, and it indeed was mono. So I think for a month, every week, I was in getting my blood drawn to keep an eye on my liver numbers.
Yeah.
And luckily, my liver did not explode. But that meant we have like a cabin trip that you also go on, with full of fun and games, and also, again, a lot of drinking. And I was tired all the time because of the mono, and I couldn't drink. So I had a really bad social start, and also just dealing with courses where you are dealing with. I was pretty much sick with mono for that half year, my first full semester. I wasn't sick, but I was tired, and everything ached. So I was on painkiller, I think, until mid-October, and that was in the end of August I had been diagnosed. So for about at least 2 months, I was on the maximum amount of paracetamol and ibuprofen you're allowed to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, don't even think about taking them, just take them. I don't really like taking painkillers. I've gotten better at it because that whole experience was like, it's okay. You can just take them. Like, even if it's not hurting too bad, it will at some point. Just take them, and that's the only thing they can do for you when you have mono. They can't help any other way. Antibiotics don't work. Nothing works. The only thing they can do is pain manage. So I was pretty much stopped up the entire first two months of studies. And fell asleep in about half my classes if I actually showed up. No. So I also had to tell all my lecturers, and like, I sit fairly close to the board because otherwise I can't see. So it's very obvious when I'm sitting in first row and like, I didn't just snore as well, so it was just chaotic. So on that, combined with the neurospiciness, and then trying to get into the social circles that had formed by the first semester ending, also just by the cabin trip itself.
I didn't do the social thing. I didn't do sororities or anything. Like I was a little loner in college.
Group work in my in the degree I'm doing, and the further along we got, the more we're doing our own, picking our groups. So one thing I actually ended up starting with a lot, I always ended up in the groups that was kind of filled with whatever was left. And it was often not the people who put the same energy into their studies that I
did. Hate
that.
So
all the actual smart people in my course was already in groups with each other. And I was just, I really want to work with these people because I know they understand the subject, but they are already in a group. Luckily, I had like one classmate who kept kind of pulled me into stuff. And I'm still so grateful she did that because it still means I'm at least somewhat part of the social circle now, even. But yeah, that was like the introductory part of uni. Also, I think one thing though, my neurotypiness of that, the whole gifted child thing, the math I learned at gymnasium. Because I had a math teacher who's super nerdy and liked teaching us stuff, and I liked math, so I was really into it. And then, like 90% of what we learned in the first math course at uni, we had free or my bachelor's degree, because again, it's engineering. Who would have thought? The first one was pretty much all covered by stuff I've already learned. Same with our introductory inorganic chemistry one. Not all of it was covered by stuff I already learned, but most of it was because I had a higher level than you necessarily have to get in. So I had to catch people up, and that meant I could actually follow on with the 4 courses I had that semester, because 2 of them I could basically read up on to the exam. Where the neurospiciness is actually sometimes really weird, because when I get stressed, I get productive.
Yeah, same.
The ADHD kicked in up. Oh yes, we need to hurry because
we're good under pressure, man. We are so good under pressure. Spicy brains.
One of the best.
Sometimes. Sorry, you were saying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt. But one of the best essays I ever wrote in college was I wrote it within 2 hours before I started the essay 2 hours before the class. Like, I was typing it in the computer lab, went to class, turned it in, got like a 95 on it. So proud moment of my life.
Yeah, I think the whole being able to cram a lot in a few days is probably why I gotten through my degree. But it is also, as I got further along, especially for 4th semester, when we hit COVID in my 4th semester. Fourth semester of uni, March of 2020. So we suddenly went with all our classes suddenly being at home in the middle of semester, which is really weird. especially because we had only gotten through half the lab work in one of our courses. And then he just had to decide, should we give you the data? Do you only want to do the report on the part you have covered? Or do we do that one? And also, generally, it's just not very exciting courses that semester. One of them was, I think it was science free, pretty much. So pretty much why we.
Sorry if you can hear my dog.
It's okay. So pretty much how we separate theories and stuff like that was incredible. And also a production and management course. And it wasn't too bad, but we had to make our fake product in groups. And imagine having to do that over Zoom. I had so much group work over Zoom. I hated it with my entire being.
I hate having to rely on other people. Like having to rely on other people for my grade.
And also half of my lectures, I pretty much just woke up, sat up in bed, put my laptop up somewhere. So my note taking was abysmal that the rest of that semester, and it hasn't really recovered since then. I usually write 90% of my notes when I do repetition for the exam, which is not great. Which is something I will come back to. But yeah, that whole semester really fucked me up because it did not work with my neurospicy brain. I could not keep my focus when sitting at my laptop. So that was really hard. Luckily, that was the fourth semester. The fifth semester was the internship. So because it is a vital part of education, I was actually allowed to show up at the university where a lot of my classmates who were out at actual companies, they didn't get to show up for pretty much the first months. They were doing stuff at home. I think we were home for 1 or 2 weeks, me and the other intern. And then you were like, yeah, it's okay. You are one of the... At that was time where we were the only 2 people in the entire building we were in with our labs. Because they were like, it's important you 2 are here for your education, and one else can work from home.
Yeah. Well, that's nice that they they accommodated you in that way.
So I had a half semester where a lot of time I was almost alone in the building, doing stuff, a lot of different projects. It was actually really fun. I ended up a lot of different stuff. I could also ended up working under one of my lecturers, who I then ended up doing my bachelor project for, because I was struggling to find one when I got to that, which is another thing. But the sixth semester was then just electives, so that was fun. I got to actually pick what I wanted, not where we have otherwise very set for my degree, very set courses we have to take.
Yeah.
For each semester. So until then, I hadn't really been able to pick stuff I want specifically. So that was really nice. And then for 7th semester, you also have a bit of electives, and then you have your bachelor project. And I had unfortunately chosen electives that took up a lot of my time. So with my neurodivergency, my autism tried to plan. It did not work. My ADHD disregarded the plan entirely. And I did not get anywhere near done enough for turn-in. I couldn't even turn it in. I hadn't written a word by the time. I was like, okay, I'm a few days off. I can't possibly actually write this in the time I have. My data isn't good. None of this is working. So my advisor ended up reaching out to me like, is it realistic you're going to turn in? I'm like, no, it's not. And before this, I had, I think I only have 1 or 2 re-exams in my bachelor degree, which at that time was actually pretty decent. At least, I think it was only actually 1. And that one was due to one, I just didn't understand the subject well enough. And the one, I actually think it was only 1. My brain is confused. I had one was due to a computer error, where my computer broke slightly before the exam. Both my mom's was older, and it could not deal with the surveillance program they have us use for cheating. They used to have us use for cheating. And the math program we had to use to actually do the calculations. So it buffered half the time of my 4-hour exam.
Oh no.
So it's like I couldn't even do the half, which is what you have to correct for passing. So it's like I knew when I left the exam, I'm like, this is definitely not it. That was my first time not passing an exam. And it fucked with my brain so much, even though I was like, it's the computer's fault, it's not mine.
Yeah.
But I got so frustrated with it.
Yeah.
But basically when I got to my bachelor's degree, that was the first time I had to make the active decision of I'm not going to turn in because I cannot.
Yeah.
As it is currently. So he helped me get in contact with our student advisor or advisors for studies and stuff, and helped me they sent me to the pretty much the one who has more about the what's the word? The word is completely the actual stuff in the courses.
The syllabus?
It's not. Yeah.
You mean the person who oversees what's in the courses?
Yeah, we kind of have two different
advisors.
So you can go for help. One for your general well-being, and the other one for study related stuff, pretty much.
A counselor.
A counselor,
a
guidance
advisor.
counselor.
Okay.
Both of them are counselors, but with different areas. So first I got sent to the one who's actually with the study stuff.
Yeah, that's called here. That's an advisor. Like the educational part is an advisor, like a guidance counselor, or someone that. Yeah.
Technically, they're both guidance counselors here with just different areas. But pretty much she didn't help a lot at all. I didn't feel like I was met with understanding. She was like, "Oh, you can try and you can fail, of course." It was not good. And then I got asked to have a sit down with our a well-being, pretty much what I would say, well-being guidance counselor, where we sat down, we had a chat about what had actually reached this. The other one was really focused on me getting a doctor's note on. I've been sick a lot that semester due to stress. I get sick when I'm stressed. It lowers my immune system, and I get sick like that. So I've been sick a lot, but it was all small periods of sickness. So I hadn't gone to the doctor, so I couldn't get any documentation on being sick. And she really wanted that. So I was like, okay, I need to talk to the well-being person because this is not working. So I talked to her and I don't have a doctor's note. I can't get a doctor's note because most of the time I was only sick for a few days, and I hadn't realized how much it would have made sense to actually go to my doctor every time it happened.
Yeah.
Something I knew now. So what can we do? Is there anything I can do? Do I have to pick a new topic and we do it entirely? And she was like, actually, because it was before the deadline, she was like, if you turn in a blank slate, you can decide to turn in blank. You can, without issue, continue what you're doing with the same setup and everything. You just have to add on to it, of course. But since you haven't turned anything in, it won't be a turn-in of the same material when you do it again. So it's like, okay, that is what I needed to know, because, okay, I can do another semester, I can deal with that. And also, if I do that, I could turn in blank, let that rest completely, go to my exams in the other two courses, my elective. Those I did. And then I had a semester where I only had 2/3 of a normal course load, which is how much the bachelor project filled, and I could focus on that entirely. And I ended up getting out with a 7. My report was lacking in some ways. Again, I ended up writing it very last minute. I think I wrote 13 pages in 3 days. Brady can attest to that because they were at that point we were together and they saw the chaos. They are one of the reasons I managed to get through it. Because I cried a lot in those 3 days. And I was like, I'm never gonna let this happen again. Not entirely the same thing happened when I did my master thesis, but it was not much better. But yeah, so that was basically for just my bachelor's degree. So it really started to kick in at the end of my bachelor's degree that stuff was not stopping well. And my sister had been diagnosed by then. And I was like, oh, this I should really get my diagnosis, but I didn't feel like I had the time to start the whole process. I wasn't sure how quick I could get in, how the whole process would be like. I was stressed out of my mind at that point. So for anyone who don't know, I am currently waiting for an appointment next year in April to have my first appointment about getting diagnosed, or at least checked for ADHD.
And it's earlier than
got that appointment back in January, and that's actually not a long wait time because it's usually 3 years. So I'm actually quite fortunate of only having to wait about a year and a half. But that's a whole story for later. So I don't know if you want to speak into that before I start on the whole master degree thing.
Yeah, how your bachelor's went, Amanda.
Well, like I said, it took me six years and a summer semester to get a 4-year degree. Well, I guess I should say it took me 4 years and a summer semester to get the last 2 years of that degree, because I got my associates in 2 years. So because community college was just enough like high school that it had the structure I needed to do it in 2 years. So I was able to, and I relatively enjoyed it. It was very like it was like a campus, but it was more like a high school in the sense like how it was set up, how the classrooms were set up. It wasn't like giant lecture halls of like 150 students in one lecture hall and stuff. So I did that in 2 years, but then, like I said, the last 2 years, once I got to actual university, that's what took me 4 years to complete, because I had to withdraw from several semesters, got like, and we had like a health center, but I found where you could just like print out the like doctor's note in a way, and you could like fill it out and like sign it. Like it wasn't like cheating in the sense like, because it's like it was there for you to use. And so I would use that. I would just give that to like the professors and stuff. Like, oh, this is why I missed class. It was not because like I just didn't want to go. Like I just could not force myself to go. So yep, that's why it took so long. It took so long to get a 4-year degree. I have it, not using it. It's sitting up there. But it's right there above on the top of my bookshelf. But yep, that's basically like, I think, textbook undiagnosed neurodivergence, where I just thought I just thought I was a failure. Like you said, it's the whole gifted child syndrome. I was told all my life, like, oh, you're so smart, you're so talented, like here's all this, like you're getting A's, like you're gonna do great in college, you're gonna have a good career by the time you're 25. And nope, absolute burnout happened, and just could not make it work. I mean, eventually I made it work, just took almost twice as long as it should have.
Yeah, I think the whole I'm luckily my degree is very structured, like gymnasium stuff, high school stuff. We do a lot of classroom work, a lot of lab work. So it wasn't. Our degrees are some of the most scheduled ones. Like I had a pretty normal looking schedule of either from 8 to 4 a lot of days, or 8 to 12. But I think I usually had at least 24 scheduled hours on my
it's a lot.
schedule each week. Yeah, and it worked great. And then I hit my bachelor's project, and I had to plan myself. And then the chaos started.
Yeah.
So I definitely, that's also why I've, after then that point, started. Because of one of the electives I did along with that was a lot of, we were meeting up in a group to prepare a presentation we then had to do for a lecturer based on the topic, and then it was kind of reverse classroom style. So that didn't really have a stuck planning, which just made the whole situation harder. So I've been very aware of trying to get stuff that is actually on the schedule when I pick electives, because I don't do well with the other ones. But yeah, I can definitely see myself in that.
Yeah. And I didn't finish anything I ever started. That's why I'm not talking in these episodes. Well, I didn't even get through a whole semester of junior college, so which is basically high school light.
Because you did like I know of massage therapy and cosmetology.
I never got to the cosmetology program because I had to take. So annoying. I had to take like all these classes before I could just take the cosmetology. Like, had I just been able to start the cosmetology program and didn't also need to have like two remedial math classes that weren't going to give me any credits whatsoever, plus then the regular math class I needed, plus then extra English classes and all this other, had I not had all that barrier to the fucking program I wanted, I'd be a cosmetologist already, right? But like, and then the massage therapy thing, I enjoyed it so much in the beginning, and I truly thought I was going to finish that. But then when we got to the actual like hands-on part of it, where I had to start touching people, I didn't like touching people. I learned that real fast. I liked the learning about the body and learning about the muscles and the bone structures.
Concepts, but not the practice.
Yes. I liked all of that, and I liked that if there was a specific issue on someone, I could help them with that, and like I knew what muscle to press on and what to relax, and I loved that part of it because it was a problem solving. I was looking at it, like I can solve problems with this because now I know what these things, where they are and what they relax and all these things. But then when I had to touch my first naked elderly person who had just had a bunch of moles burnt off their back and still came in for the massage, I was like, no, I won't be finishing this. Nope. I'm done. I can't do this. I can't do this part. I will gladly help with like sports massage. I think I'd be great at that. Like athletes, like working with athletes and shit, that not just men, I like them both. So like, did I just out myself on the podcast? Oh shit! I just outed myself on the podcast. Surprise, I'm bi. But anyway, yeah, cut. No, it's fine. I don't care. But yeah, surprise. I like them both. But anyway, I would feel like I'd be really good in that aspect of it. But I just don't want to touch someone to touch. I don't want to do relaxation massage. Like I want to problem solve for you, and I don't want to touch old people with their moles that got burnt off their back, and then when you're rubbing them, you're rubbing the scabs off their back, and like, no, thank you. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Carry on.
Nice. Something. But no, actually coming back to the whole raid part. So we got together. We learned. We got to know each other while I was pretty much the entire time I was doing my first try. That we were kind of in the periphery of each other, but wasn't talking much. But pretty much when I started my second try was also when I ran into the trouble in the server and started talking to Ray. So a large majority of my second try, I had Ray to also keep me sane, along with my best friend, who also is a large part of why I got through it. So she also, like, I got to bring 2 people to my graduation, and I fully said to my mom, I'm like, is it okay? It is not you, but my partner and my best friend, because they are definitely the reason I got here. And she's like, of course. And my sister was a little sad, but she was like, sure.
I love that.
But yeah, so they got to be at my graduation. So technically I
great.
haven't had a graduation. I will have another one in January, hopefully.
Nice.
Yay!
So
You're almost there.
Yeah.
You got this.
Half a year.
You got this. It's the final countdown.
So, but yeah, they definitely kept me sane the second time. I actually got to vent a lot more about what was frustrating me.
The
Yeah,
support system's helpful. It's helpful to have the right support system.
It helped so much.
Yeah.
So I got through with a 7, which I think is like
You have the thingy open.
Huh?
I
Oh, the thing. The thing.
Yeah,
Do you want me to open it?
No, we're talking grades. Not So I think I got a 7, which I think is an American B or somewhere around there. So or
like 7 out of
grade
what?
scale is
7 out of 10 or?
I'm just gonna find our grade scale because it's really hard to understand if you don't.
We have a weird grade scale, but it's better than the old grade scale, which was really weird.
To be fair, we do A, B, C, D, and F. Why there's no E?
Yeah, there's no E.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna copy this image.
And then the plus failure. And there's like A+, A-, like D-, and then we have a term. We have a term called C's get degrees. Like basically just you have to try.
Yeah, we have that with twos get degrees. Because twos are passing grade. So I sent it in the Discord. I don't know if you can open it.
Okay, hold on. Let me
because it looks really weird, but it makes a lot of sense when you understand it. But also at the same time, it doesn't really.
So what is? This is kind of not random, but it's like, so what is your thesis on? Like you said, you're working on your what is the thesis on?
Which one of them? My bachelor degree.
I thought you said you were working on a thesis.
I finished. I passed that one. I'm gonna talk about it. But I can kind of tell you what it's about. What he's trying to. So in simple words, we are currently,
as we say in English, please, in English.
Yeah. In dum dum.
We're using something called peat.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much
bog,
like moss.
Yeah, like what you find in the swamp.
Yeah.
Bog.
We use that in growth media in industrial greenhouses for a lot of potted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And peat is in itself not necessarily bad, but the issue is that peatlands where there are natural carbon sinks, so they are a large part of, and they can take up a lot of carbon. CO2 actually. I mean, so we really need them if we want to avoid temperature spikes and global warming.
Yeah.
You know. So we really don't want to pretty much, because when you take out the peat, you drain the entire area. And then it won't work as a carbon sink anymore. So it's not great. So we are looking at alternatives to peat, and the group I work with are looking at biochar. It's biochar group in general, so they look at biochar for different reasons. Biochar is pretty much just paralyzed biomass, so that can be wood, that can be straw, that can be a lot of things.
Oh, we have petrified forests and stuff. So
yeah, so paralysis is pretty much just the thermochemical reaction of burning of biomass. In simple terms.
Yeah, I was just I know you briefly talked about it before, but I was just curious because you were talking about doing your thesis. I know
she's not done. She's got more to say. They not done. They not done. See, I just did it. I'm so sorry. My brain's getting tired.
So we are looking at biochar as an alternative, as one of the alternatives, because it's really stable and some stuff, and we can at least replace some of the peat with it, so we can use less peat. But the pH is really important for plant growth, and peat is very sour, it's very fixable. It's a little too sour for plants actually, but it's fairly easy to fix. Where biochar is incredibly basic, with a pH around 10. which is not good for plants because they want about 5 pH levels.
Yeah.
So we have to use quite a lot of peat to bring that pH down. So what I looked into was actually a lot of students had before me tried washing it with the acid afterwards, but had to use a lot of post-washing with water for it to not contain acid at the end, but still had a significant drop in the pH. And it's still not a great pH drop for what we were trying to use it for. She also had a slightly different name, so it's like, it's good, but it's not great. So what we were interested in was actually trying to use acid washing as a pre-treatment before paralysis instead of afterwards. So pretty much just taking the wood, we washed it in water first, and then we washed it with acid. I tried 2 different acids, and then we're actually just trying to understand what does this do to the pH and other things in the actual biochar, because there's no literature on a lot of the time when we're looking at biochar, it's different things to look at. And then if it's pH and stuff like that we're usually looking at bio oil, which is another product of the process, but it's used for something completely different. So we usually don't actually get the data on the biochar. So it's very much an area where there's no literature, and it's a lot of people want to know it, but it seems so simple that no one really just thought about actually doing something with it. So I did.
Okay. So this is kind of like almost like a groundbreaking thing. So like you're creating possible future literature on this because it's not something that anyone cared to deal with.
I did my thesis, and the advisor I'm working with, or work with, and the postdoc I work with are currently working on an article based on a large part of it based on the laboratory work I did.
That's awesome.
With some experiments added to kind of fill out the history of it. But yeah, and they will be crediting me somewhat, at least for the laboratory work I've used. They have used. So hopefully, sometime in the next year, there will be an article I can show you guys.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. I love that. See,
so,
that's
really
that's
excited.
a damn that's some problem solving right there. That's amazing.
Yeah, I got a 10 on it. I defended it on the 20th of June, defended it on the 4th of June, my actual thesis, and defended on 20th, got a 10, which is pretty much an A. There's a few things I could have done added to it, and especially in my presentation. There was a few things they wanted some more stuff on. Otherwise, I would have gotten, but I got an A, which is very nice.
So let's show, I have that up. Let's show everyone what that grade scale is real quick.
Yeah. So our grade scales go from -3, which a lot of people find funky, so we have a negative number in there. But from -3 to 12, and from 2 to 12 is passing grades, and 0 and -3 is failing grades.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So yeah, so I got like A minus this time. He said it was pretty good 10, so I'm probably leaning more to get towards an A than an A minus. They have very few comments on my report, especially, so that was nice. Not that I didn't write in about a week this time, it being I think 30 pages or something. Of actually written, I think 24. Like if you're only looking at number of letters, including spaces and stuff, I think I had 24 clean pages or something around there. So a lot of text and a lot of pictures. So I think with appendix and everything, I think I hit just under. I think around 30 to 40 pages. I don't remember entirely. It was big. Wow. It's not uncommonly big, but it was big for me. We also don't have a cap at how long or short it should be. for my degree because it varies a lot. You have to say what's important without putting too much fill in there. So it's a real struggle of finding how much should I put in and how much shouldn't I put in.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then with
Trying
my
to sum up.
bachelor's, I did get a B plus somewhere in there.
Okay.
Well,
I
good.
like this grading scale though. I feel like this is much more. It's much less
Yeah.
vague. Like I've always hated like the B plus, B minus. Like just give me a fucking B and say it's a B, or give me an A and say it's an A, or give me a C and say it's a C. Don't placate me. If it's a B, it's not a good enough B. It's only just a regular B, or it's a negative B. Like just give me a grade. Don't what is all this? What is all this? Well, everything has to be so much more fucking complicated here. Look at this compared to the other two. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. So we used to have instead of it went to 12, it went to 13. And a lot of people are asking for that one back or at least adding 13 as a grade, because 12 is often given when it's pretty much perfect. There can still be a little bit, but if people feel like there's something to show you've gone above and beyond, and people are requesting getting that back. I don't know. In some ways I can see the good in it, and some ways it's fine as it is.
I get it.
But zero you can get fairly. If pretty much you have to get if it's a written exam, usually you have to get at least half right to get a 2, at least at university level. So 0 is not uncommon to see someone getting. I had a course in organic chemistry where 33% failed as a general statistic. The first time you tried, 33% failed.
Wow.
I got a 2. I can't remember. I got a 2 or 4 in that class, and I was so fucking ecstatic. You wouldn't even believe it. That's one thing I really learned for university. 2 gets degrees. That is so cool sometimes, because I'm not in a field where my grades on stuff like that, like on the bigger things, like the one I just did. It's nice to have a good grade. But it's not going to be the reason someone else is probably getting a job over me. Where I know some people who are very competitive fields where every grade really matters, and like it doesn't me. I just have to pass. At
How did you feel? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Micah. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
In some of my tries, again, we have 3 tries as a basis. So you can do it the first time, and then if you don't pass, you can do a re-exam. If you don't pass that one, you can do a second re-exam. And then if you still don't pass, sometimes you can ask for a 4th try if you have a good enough reason why one of them, the other tries might have not gone well.
Okay. Well, that's generous. I feel like their entire school system is it's much more generous. Like, that's a lot of tries. Amanda, how many tries do you get in college to pass an exam?
1. I mean, it depends on the professor, but obviously, like, you can, I guess, take retakes. I think it just definitely depends on the professor, but most of the time, 1. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you fail it, you're done. Like, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, if you have failed your first 2 times, they will often suggest you retake the course before doing your 3rd try, because even if you retake the course, you don't get the 3 tries again. You only have 3 tries. But also, if you fail the 3rd time, you are out of university, off your degree completely.
Oh, wow.
You get thrown out.
Wow.
So I'm like, it sounds generous, but it can be real fucking stressful. I definitely have never gotten further than 2 tries. I like my 2nd try being the one I passed on, and that was scary enough.
Yeah.
I had one where I actually technically had 3 tries, but the first time I was sick, so I got a doctor's note, and then the 2nd time I didn't pass because the re-exam was right in the middle of me praying for another semester. I was semesters of exams, and I was stressing. So I hadn't time to prepare, so I didn't pass that one. But that was technically my first try. So when I retook it, I passed, luckily.
Oh,
but that one
thank
was
God.
stressful as hell. But yeah, especially in my master's program, it's been more of the realization of courses are fucking hard sometimes.
Yeah. Did you want to talk more about your master's? Like, get into like what led to that?
Yeah, I was supposed to start that.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
It's totally okay. So I was fairly sure I didn't know what I wanted to do straight. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to work with when I was getting near the end of my bachelor's. I was like, so it makes sense to me to apply for the master's and be like, okay, at least then I have 2 more years where I can specialize a little bit, maybe try some things out, figure out what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten much closer what I want to work with, but that's luckily with the field I'm getting to not the worst thing in the world, because I can change different areas of the field fairly easily between jobs. So I started out and fairly quickly ran into some issues with being sick a lot because of stress. Had the whole debacle of being sick while I got a real bad sinus infection, which was why I was sick for the exam that I was just talking about. My first semester of my master's, at the end of that exam period, I managed to get a sinus infection and had to get a doctor's note for that one last exam and just be like, I can't possibly actually go for this. And then the second semester was okay, but then again, the exam season was then infused with hopefully my first try in that exam I didn't do it the first time. So I ended up not passing that and also not passing 2 of my actual exams. Or one of them I actually decided not to go up to. Or one I was like, I'm just gonna not show up. I can't. Too stressed out. I'd rather just do it in August and spend a try and not going up. And that's a part of me had to realize that might be necessary. And that was in May last year. And pretty much since then, or a little before then, I was under pretty much constant stress, which led to me in the fall of last year. Managed to pass both the re-exams I could take in August, the one from my second semester. The one for the first semester I couldn't retake until January of this year. So, because it's only a fall course, and then I had to wait until the course had repeated, so until the exam was held again. It's very nice sometimes. But pretty much it meant I had studied pretty much all of last summer vacation, so I hadn't really had a proper break. Because I had a really hard written exam I didn't pass the first time, and I really struggled that one because we had a lot of good practice questions, but it was a new lecturer who had taken all the course, and his exams looked nothing like that once, and we didn't see that until we were at the exam the first try, and then I had read up on that stuff, and the second time it was pretty much the stuff that weren't in there the first time. So luckily I got through it with passing grade, but I was so close to not passing the second time because you pretty much had taken half of the course in the first exam and then taken the other half in the re-exam. So it's mostly told me stuff of how he, again, worded the assignments and stuff, which were horrible. I hated it so much. But then I came into my first semester, and I unfortunately had chosen 2 courses that overlapped on Mondays. So I had a course that was the entirety of Monday, with lab stuff, and then one that had a lecture on Mondays and a lecture on Wednesdays in the mornings from 8 to 12. And I had to skip every other lecture in that course because I had to be at a lab stuff. It was mandatory. So by the time we got into, we have like a Easter, not Easter, a fall vacation in week 42, which is mid-October-ish. I was running on fumes. I hadn't really understood much of the course. I was missing a lot of. My group mates in that one was pissed at me because I was missing a lot and had a hard time helping them in the reports we were doing about the lab stuff. And then at one point I got sick again. I was sick a lot, again, due to stress. And one of them just flipped out on me over text, and he was like, "This is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. You gotta deal with this shit." I don't. I get the reaction, but it was just very not a nice way of responding.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Because he pretty much, I feel like he called me lazy.
Yeah.
In so many ways, because I hadn't really explained how much it was actually affecting me, the stress. I hadn't been clear in my communication, sadly, but it was incredible because he didn't believe I was sick, basically, at that point. So I had a major breakdown at home. Ray was with me, luckily it was over the vacation, or the end of vacation.
About the end, I think.
Yeah, I think I spent half an hour crying. Just completely broken down. I ended up writing to our student guidance captain and being like, "Can I have a chat? I need to know what are my options." And I also wrote to our lecturer and also my group. I'm like, I understand. I'm trying to figure out a solution. I was also in a group with them in another course, and they were like, he said he didn't want to carry me anymore, which I feel like was a rude way of vocalizing it.
Okay. Fuck him.
And we were about to start a project in the other course. So it's like I had about half a week to find a new group in the other course. I was like, that's fair enough. I will try my best to find another group. I did. Luckily, a group were only 2 people, and they could be up to 3 people. So I was like, hey, it was mixed class between chemical engineers and mechanical engineers. So it was like, and we were really supposed to mix, but I was actually we could be up to 4 people, but there were only 2 people. You could mix, you weren't actually supposed to mix, but I was in a chemical group before, and I found 2 mechanical students who was like, I see you don't have a chemical. Do you want me? I need a new group for personal reasons. And I'm dealing with a lot of stuff right now, but I really just need to find a group so I know where to start on this day. And they were like, sure, we can do that. So luckily I got a group in that. Luckily that course was weird with their grading system, but did have an exam, so that was nice. Based on what we did do throughout the semester in a lot of different ways. It's confusing. Luckily, part of the grade was also based on personal work, and only a part of it was also the group work. So I also think I pulled my grade up with my personal work, because at least one of the group members wasn't great, but at least it was a group. And I managed to talk to a student guidance counselor and be like, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm about to break down. And she suggested I talk to my doctor, so I did. And couldn't go into my regular doctor. She couldn't take me a moment's notice, and I really needed a doctor's note to do anything in the course, or to do anything about the course I was currently struggling with. So I got into, we had like not a student doctor, but she's done with her studies, but she's still learning some stuff before she can practice by herself. but she could take me in and talk it over. And actually, also her, I ended up going to for the ADHD referral, which is very nice because she was young and understood me, which was nice. So we talked back and forth, and we were like, okay, I am definitely stressed. She didn't want to write stress because she was like, they actually have no right to know what is wrong. More specifically, for this type of doctor's note, that's things finding great. But she was like, I will write as I see it. We were talking about sleep. I wasn't sleeping. I think some nights I barely slept half an hour. Some nights, if I'm lucky, I got 2 or 3 hours of sleep. But that was pretty much max I was getting. I was utterly exhausted. She really said to my face, "You don't look good." Like I had, my eyes had dark rings, everything. I was really not doing great. She was like, "I'm gonna write, but if you don't go down to part-time studying, it's gonna affect your general health, and that should be enough." And it was. Yeah. And I got unassigned to the course. I think it's the right word. So in the university's eyes, I have never taken the course before. No. So I haven't used an exam try on that whole debacle. So in the middle of semester, I suddenly went down to only having 3 courses instead of 4. I focused on those 3, managed to get through it. It's still a struggle, but I got through them. I did have one exam I ended up getting, but I got that. I had that just a little before I turned in my thesis, and that also worked out. It didn't go.
It went.
I think it went decently.
Yeah.
I think I got a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was good. It was decent. Not as
you passed.
Oh right, yeah, I got a 4 because I also got a 4 in the other part of that package, which really was courses I shouldn't have been taking because they were too biotechnology based. So I was the only chemical engineer in those courses, and I struggled with lot.
Hey, but you made it. You passed.
Yeah, so I passed.
I'm gonna pause us for a second. Sorry, I'm gonna pause us for just a second. My internet is not being nice. So give me just a second. I'm gonna pause the recording and I'm gonna turn my VPN off and see if that helps, because everyone's being really laggy and I know it's my internet. So give me just a second.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. You can restart now.
Where was I? Oh, right, I passed. So that was good. So I, on top of the whole debacle of stress and everything, I was trying to find a project to do for my thesis because I had to do that during that semester. So it's closing to the end of the semester. The deadline of turning my project description in was getting close. So I think I had one night where I kind of panicked and wrote out to I think 8 different professors and be like, hey, we had a PDF of projects they're doing. I'm like, hey, I see you have this one. I find that interesting. I could also do one of the other ones. I need something quick because due to personal reason, I'm really behind on my applications. And actually, a lot of them answered within the next 24 hours. I think by the morning, I had 3 or 4 replies. And by the afternoon, I had replies from 6. I think I ended up meeting with 3 or 4 of them. My actual advisor, the one I ended up picking, I think he was the second one I met up with.
I think.
And I was like, I think I ended up meeting up with 3 people. The first one I met up was really interesting, I wasn't entirely sure it was my thing. And then I met up with my advisor, and he was just so enthusiastic about what he does. He has worked with biochar for so long, and he is he's the sweetest British guy I've ever met. Not that British guys are bad, but he was just he's so enthusiastic about everything. He does. Also helped that he actually spoke proper English, because I've also run into that issue sometimes with some of the professors at uni. It is what it is when you have a lot of different languages there, and some of the languages aren't great. So he was really enthusiastic and was like, I have this project, could also do something else, but this is something he really wanted to have looked into. Like, I found it quite interesting, because I find sustainability really interesting, and I like that it had some clearer borders to what are we working towards. I had some autonomy in it, but it wasn't too out there, and a lot of the methods were already somewhat defined. So I didn't have that much of that kind of stuff to do. He did say that I will probably struggle with literature search, but like, I can deal with that. I just need something that's more defined than a lot of the other stuff. So it's like, that sounds really interesting. I have one more meeting, and I will come back to it, but currently I'm really excited about this. And I called my mom when I left and told her, like, he's so enthusiastic about it. It definitely rubbed off on me. I was like, this sounds really interesting. It's just like, it definitely sounds like what you want to choose, but again, it makes sense to take the last meeting, especially because that was a lecture I had before, and he does a lot of cool stuff. It's not that. It was just not really for me what he was currently trying to have people look into. So I think my headphones died.
Did your headphones die?
Oh
no, it's not. It hasn't died yet, but it started beeping. But we have other ones we can change to, so it's fine. But yeah, so I started that whole process, and I think the stress of everything got definitely worse by my neurodivergency, because planning became extra hard. All these kind of things, just it makes the process so much harder than it had to be. Where a lot of my neurotypical classmates had a hard time understanding how I ended up in that situation at all, why I couldn't keep up, stuff like that. And I just, in a lot of ways, a lot of people were very nice about it, but also people like I just didn't really quite understand struggling in that way. But yeah, so I got to and I had a really good, already with the original conversation with my advisor, a good conversation about the fact that I am heavily suspecting being ADHD and also, again, possibly autistic. So we actually had a conversation about that, and how could he maybe also help me stay on track. And I wrote him an email back and be like, I would like to say yes to your offer for the project. Can we set up a new meeting where we can file down some things, because I had to turn in the project description with a whole bunch of stuff within a week of that. I'm like, I really if we do that quickly. I'm just like, sure, we can. We talked quite a lot, decided on weekly meetings every other week, so he could make sure I was somewhat on track, stuff like that. And also the fact that I had postdoc that I work with on a nearly daily basis, especially in the beginning, meant that I actually got started in the right way. So we started up having quite a lot of meetings together, so I got on the planning schedule as planned. And when I got behind, we had a good discussion about how to keep me on track and stuff like that. So generally, the fact that I learned from my bachelor project, I need to be, first of all, honest with where I was at times. And also, there's definitely things I struggle with my undiagnosed neurospiciness. And it is okay to ask help in that regard, even from your advisor, which was something I really struggled with originally. So this time I had a lot of opportunity to ask help, and I feel like I did. And he also embraced it fairly well. So all around, the process just went a lot better this time. So I think that's definitely one of the things I learned from the first time. You should really ask for help if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if there's resources available.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
My doggo is crying at the door.
I think some of the reasons I'm saddest about not getting access to because I'm not diagnosed yet. Universities in general have a lot of opportunity for accommodations and stuff, but they do generally require an official diagnosis. So we have a so for those who don't know, Danes get a small, or not small in some people's regard, some money every month while they're studying. Plus, they get a certain length they can do that for being students. So we have something to live on without necessarily having to work. Along with our university degrees are free for Danes. And that freaks some people out sometimes, and they're like, why, how can that be?
Yeah.
Due to our high taxes.
Yeah.
Among other things. So again, mostly the people who actually get SU, which is what it's called, will end up paying it back in taxes later. So it's like a loan, but it's less in your face a loan. And more people can actually deal with having to pay it back later on.
Yeah.
You can
Sorry,
get.
I'm just telling my husband they can let the dog in. Sorry.
That's totally okay.
She's like
you can get
crying at the door.
It's fun. You can get about twice as much paid out if they deem that your functionality has been lowered enough that you realistically would damage your studying by working next to your studying due to some official diagnosis like ADHD, dyslexia, a lot of different handicaps, and other disabilities. There's a lot of stuff that can trigger that one. So my sister got that for a while after she got diagnosed. It did help a lot. I did not because, again, undiagnosed. So currently I'm fairly dead. Luckily, I also don't have the highest interest, and I have a pretty good amount of time to pay it off, and I don't have to start paying it off until I think we just realized I don't have to start paying it off until 2027.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 10 years after you first started. I started my writing up with it back when I was in gymnasium, because that's when I started living on my own and not having enough money to live, and also being able to just have a smidge of fun once in a while.
Yeah.
And I am on the path for a very decently paying job. Semi-high paying job. So like I should be fine paying it off if everything goes well. So I've always been told it's worth taking the loan, so you don't have to think about every penny of your monthly amount. So, but that thing is something I feel like would help me a lot more, because there were times where I tried working next to it, and I have also been a student teacher for several semesters. Sadly, the university decided, when you haven't done it 3 times, you are no longer allowed. And then I was also a laboratory assistant at the university for a long time, but when I moved, it didn't really become possible anymore. But I actually got a few shifts this fall for some student teaching, because this university figured out they needed me, so they allowed my boss to actually hire me in on a specific short contract for this 2 different things. So that's really nice. It's nice to feel light enough that they're like, I need that person back. So please allow me to hire them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. So that, and also it was luckily I have had very few written exam since this went into effect, but we are no longer allowed to listen to music or wear noise-canceling headphones in written exams unless you have
The diagnosis.
a diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I have the wonderfulness of having videos, so I have to use very specific earplugs, which they work, but they don't work as well as having my noise-canceling headphones just being turned on with nothing playing. I work way better with music because it keeps my brain entertained while I do stuff.
Yeah, and I tend to what's for at least for me. Sorry to interrupt, but like what's at least for me if I'm listening to music, like there's certain songs now that I can remember just like something specific I was doing when I listened to that song, or like something I was listening, like reading or whatever. It's like, oh, this song here, I remember exactly what I was doing like the first time I really listened to the song, or the first like I really felt this song or something. So it like to me it's like a memory thing. Like you can use
like a memory recall.
Remember stuff. Yeah.
I remember
Amanda, are you good?
Yeah.
You were doing this to your head earlier.
Oh, I have a pimple.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
just
but
making sure you're good over there.
I am getting a little bit of a headache, but it's because like the StreamYard screen is white, and so it's like so much. I keep everything in night mode, but StreamYard does not have a night mode as far as I'm aware.
No.
So yeah,
it's bright.
It's very bright.
Well, sorry, it was
sorry, but
the
go on.
first time it is fine. The change happened while I was in internship. So the first time I had a written exam after that, well, I was still in my bachelor's, was one of my electives. I had no idea when I showed up, so I had not brought my special earplugs because I hadn't gotten them at that point. So I would have been fucked anyways. So I got there, I had my nurse casting with me, and like, you are not allowed to use those. And I looked at the older person who was doing the monitoring, and I'm like, what do you mean? What are you saying to my face right now? And I had a more breakdown before my exam started. Look, I luckily get there super early because stuff never goes right when I'm trying to do stuff. So it's like, what do you mean? I can't use it? I can't focus for shit if I can hear other people, and I can't use. Then they were like, we can offer you some like the typical foamy earplugs. I can't get those in my ear. I can't pull them thin enough. They pop right back out. I was like, I can't use those. This is not an option. I have no idea what I'm about to do. And they were like, okay, we have one smaller room for the people who are dyslexics and need more time, but they had a few extra spots in there. So we walked over there. I spotted a friend from class I know, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure she has nothing going on like that. I went over to her with the exam card, and she was like, I asked her, I'm like, hey, we're in this situation. I can't focus for shit. At least I can sit in a smaller room if we can change seats, because they were randomly assigned, the other ones. So I've been assigned to a big room, but like I can't. I think we were 30 people or more in there, and it was driving me nuts. I think maybe 40 people. The other room was I think 8 or 10 people in a much smaller room. But like, I can deal with that. And she said, yes, of course, you can switch, no problem. So I got to sit in the smaller room, and since then I had my
that's so nice.
Yeah, yeah. There was also the same friend who kept pulling me back into the social circles originally. So I'm very appreciative of her. She's very nice.
Yeah. That's great.
But yeah, that freaked me out the first time. Afterwards, I've been prepared. It still doesn't work as great as listening to music, but at least I don't panic.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know how you're supposed to actually like recall what you need when you're like in a panic state. Like you can't like, especially during an exam. Like how are you supposed to like focus on the exam when you can't focus?
Yeah, I think I've been in a dream hall with 50 plus students doing different exams, because we're not only, maybe actually it was more like 60 or 80. in a very big gym hall, in big rows, for written exams. And I was just like, I'm just gonna sit near the front so I don't see the people behind me and put in my earplugs and hopefully pull a log out. I can't hear anyone else. That has never fully worked, but at least it's got me. But it's 3 or 4 hours of just sitting and trying to focus.
Oh, that sounds like torture to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It has several times I've been like the one I was really stressed about with the type of assignment changing. I feel like I could have done better if I had actually been able to focus.
Yeah.
Also, in general, my master's, every exam season, I've been stressed on the time because something has always been catching up for another period, or just having too much course load in general. So what I'm most excited for this fall is a proper time to take notes during the semester, to both prepare before and after class. And I only have one exam I have to deal with, and I can have a proper I have a proper vacation now. I have a proper Christmas vacation because my exam won't be until July. Not July. January. So I can take the course again this fall, and hopefully everything will be okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just really looking forward to seeing with what I can do with a course where I actually have the time I need. So I'm really excited to see how that goes.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a much better outcome for you for sure.
Yeah.
So that's your masters all planned out, and you're on the final countdown. And guess what else is on the final countdown? My bladder. So
yeah, I'm also getting tired now. So
yeah, I think it's time to hit the fun and fuckery portion if that's all we have to say.
I think so. I think
okay, cool.
But yeah, I think to recap for anyone who is dealing with this stuff or will be dealing with this stuff anytime soon, take the time to get diagnosed if you can. Don't be scared to ask for accommodations if your university offers them, or otherwise fight for your accommodations if they don't offer them. Be like, hey, I need this shit. Stop being assholes. And don't be afraid to ask for help from your advisors or lecturers. And other people are nice. Some people are assholes, but most people are nice. So just take the time to actually get a good plan for stuff if it's unplanned. And write notes. Notes definitely help you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it can be a lot, it's worth having them later, so you don't have to do them in 2 days instead of a whole semester. I've done that way too many times. I think that's my main catch-up on what to learn from Micah's failures.
Yeah. But that's all right, that's sometimes the only way we learn. That's the only way I learn most of the time.
Sometimes you gotta walk so other people can run.
That's right. That's right. Okay, people, you know what it is. It's time for the fun and fuckery portion. Sorry, that was so loud. I really need to adjust the volume when I remake that. I will bring it down some. I was unaware how crazy loud that damn noise is. I'm so sorry for anyone. I should have done headphone warning on that, but I did not. Anyway, I have words for a minder.
Yeah.
Y'all want to sit in on this Mad Lib, and then we're all done. Mad Lib and then done. All right. Okay. Ma'am, what you want?
From you, I need a plural noun.
Graveyards.
Graveyards. I literally sent a meme to my coworker earlier about spooky season that I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Adjective.
Glistening.
Glistening. Celebrity male.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Good
old NPH.
NPH. Legend, wait for it, Jerry. Celebrity female.
Barbara Streisand.
Noun.
Snake in my boot.
Snake in my boot. Okay. Adjective.
Bodacious. You're a bodacious babe.
Whoa, radical. Number.
19. Don't ask why.
This actually almost works. Part of the body, plural.
Genitals.
Shouldn't have read ahead. Oh no. Oh no. Why does it work? Okay. Verb ending in ing.
You already know what it is.
You know what it is. Fucking. Adjective.
Obsessive.
Plural noun.
3 feral cats. Thanks,
3 feral
Micah.
cats. 3 feral cats. See how they foam. Okay. Plural noun.
Orange Nickelodeon VHS tape. That was your contribution, yes, Aminder?
Yes.
Oh no, snake in my boot was whose was yours as well,
both.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Theirs were 3 feral cats. VHS.
Gotcha.
Okay. Verb past tense.
What did I do? I'm lost. Choked.
Choked. Part of the body, plural.
Titties.
Tittering last time, which does not mean anything related to titties, but it sounds
No.
like it. Adjective.
Compulsive.
You did
because I
obsessive,
used
now
obsessive.
compulsive.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I see the theme. Now HD disorder. Color.
Iridescent green.
Ooh, I like that. Person in room, male.
Because I'm beginning to miss him, Jeremy.
Yeah, we do need to have a Jeremy soon.
We do need to have a Jeremy soon. I'm starting to feel the inspo come back for Jeremy. So
Good.
It's gonna happen at some point.
Part of the body.
Coccyx. Your tailbone.
Yes.
And verb ending in ing.
Fucking again.
Fucking.
Because
Okay.
that's what I was doing today. I don't care.
Okay, so this is called a royal mess. So, throughout the ages, royal graveyards have been fraught with some seriously glistening dysfunction. Let's take a look, shall we? In recent times, Prince Neil Patrick Harris of England notoriously cheated on his wife, Lady Barbara Streisand. His poor husband. Okay, with his mistress. In turn, she found solace in the arms of a sympathetic snake in my boot. Touché. In the 1500s, one of the most bodacious English kings was Henry VIII. Out of his 19 wives, 2 had their genitals chopped off under his command.
Oh no! Damn! I could totally see him doing that, though. He was kind of crazy.
He did heads, not genitals, but whatever.
Yeah. No, he tended to like the genitals. That's why he had so many wives.
Yeah, and he just the need for.
And then when they pissed him off with their heads.
Yeah. Yikes! Many royals practiced in fucking to keep their family lines excessive and clean. That's so true. What? Families of Europe are so interbred.
And that's the word they were looking for, was inbred. That's what they were looking for.
In fucking. They did that.
In fucking.
And they definitely did that. Like
to keep their family lines obsessive clean.
British royal family. Oh my god. Very few branches on that. It's more like a wreath. Okay.
Yeah, more like a wreath.
More like a wreath. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs married their own 3 feral cats. And Egypt loved cats. Oh my gosh.
They do.
So well.
They love the cats.
In Britain, it was common for first orange Nickelodeon VHS tapes to marry. the Habsburgs interchoked so much that a genetic disorder developed where their titties didn't function correctly.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Another compulsive thing about iridescent green bloods is that they often like to be in the spotlight. For instance, Jeremy the 14th enjoyed having his coccyx cleaned while holding court. If that's called fucking the royal if that's called fucking the royal treatment, I think I'll pass.
Oh Lord. No ma'am. We don't like that.
No,
Well, mine was not near as good as last week's, per usual. Mine are generally not that great. But
yours had some bangers.
There was some good ones in there.
Yeah.
There were a few gems. Well, folks, I think that's it. We're all tired.
Yeah.
You guys, Ray and Micah especially, are tired. It's like now, what, 4:30?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, here we go.
Julie, do the thing!
I'm afraid there are no more things to do.
That's it. We're done. Yep. Let's let them go. I need to go pee. Amanda needs to go take some ibuprofen. And I also need to eat. I still haven't eaten any dinner. So, we're gonna do that. We love you.
Help a bit.
Do what?
My painkillers actually started to kick in a little bit. So
yeah.
A little bit better than I did before, but now I'm incredibly tired.
Now it's time for bed. Okay, so all the things are in the show notes. You know where we are. You know what we do. You know where to find us. We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.